welcome to another Honda CB200 video. This is another quick short update. I'm still waiting on the swing arm bushings to be made, and in the meantime I thought I'd have a crack at some of the stuff at the front of the engine. So I've taken off the bracket at the top here, and I've taken out the studs for the exhaust, and bolts and all those kinds of things. They're over here in this pot. Through this video series, I've tried a whole range of things for de-rusting metal, vinegar, electrolysis, and now I'm trying with this stuff, Metal Rescue. I bought this last year. Technically it's expired, but it still seems to be working quite well. So these went in earlier today, about 3 hours ago. They were heavily corroded. And you can already see on that head of that nut, of that bolt, we're already getting through to metal, and we're in the plate out. This again was badly rusted, and we can see we'll start going through, and I think if I gave that a rub, that rust would almost go. So I'm going to leave this in for the rest of today, and then this evening I will take it out. So yeah, so that's in there, that's processing. These are bolts that we looked at in a previous video, so this stuff is bringing bolts back to this kind of condition. I'm really impressed with this stuff, really good. So yeah, so I thought I'd show you as I go along. So I've done the exhaust nuts, the exhaust studs rather. So one here, looks like the previous owner has already had an issue here, and they've had to put a it looks like a sleeve in there. Just tapped this one, and likewise on the other one on the lower side they've had to put a sleeve thread in there, and the other one looks clear. So I'm just about to tap them with a quick tap just to make sure the threads are okay. So I'll get you somewhere angled up and we'll do that. So yeah, back in a bit. Right, so I put the camera looking straight down, so there's the exhaust port there, there's a stud this side. So this is the one that's had a sleeve put in it already. I'll lift that one out for a moment because it's hitting the frame. So all I'm doing is just using an M6 by one tap, that's all. And I'm just putting it into the thread and taking it out again, that's all. Load of WD-40 in there to clean it out beforehand. Right down to the bottom, there we are, and then out we come, that's all. No intention to actually really cut the thread, more clear out the grooves of the actual thread and inspect the tap when it comes out, of course. And there we are. So yeah, dirt base it a lot, really, just a lot of dirt. So that's that off. Now for the one, as ever, it's always the way. The other side didn't hit the frame at all. This one is. So again, being really careful. I don't want to cross thread, don't want to cut threads. All I want to do is just clean out the thread path, that's all. Tap didn't really do any cutting at all, just cleaned out some of the gunk and dirt that's in there. So that's the exhaust studs sorted out. I've only got 3. The 4th one was actually a bolt, so I need to get another stud. I think I've got one in the box of bits. But here's a good view of the throttle cable. So the throttle cable comes from the throttle over this stud, which is where the exhaust, the petrol tank sits on, comes down behind the petrol tank, behind this clip here. There, comes in. The right hand one then goes under the frame, over to the right hand carb, over there, and this one comes down to the left hand carb. On mine, it's always a good reminder because, in fact, the top of the cabling has been worn just here, where it's been rubbing up against the frame, just in there. So that's where that goes. And then we've got the wiring loom that all sits inside this, and then all of this wiring here for the switch and for the horn go between this engine bracket that will be in here. So I'm just going to finish tinkering with this, leave this in the pot, giving it a stir occasionally to get all the bubbles off. So clean all these nuts up, clean all the bolts up, yeah, and then I'll put it back on. I will dig out, so in the pot are the top engine brackets that come off my bike. I've also got the top engine brackets that I've had powder coated, and they're down below. Now, I did a video on the powder coating, but first time round with them wasn't too happy with the finish, and so we went back, and they were brilliant. They really were. But in hindsight, and this is a bit of a word to the wise, that firm that I went to was, as it were, an industrial powder coating company. Powder coating huge pieces of material. Their sandblasting is, a 6 foot lance that the chap holds and zzz. So doing fiddly motorbike parts were sort of hanging from cables from the roof, and sort of was having to then blast it while it was swinging around everywhere. And their actual powder coating going on was I feel it's a little bit thick. So yeah, I wasn't too happy with it, so I chose not to process the video anymore, so I haven't put that one live, but I might show some quick clips. So yeah, let's show some quick clips. So here is the pile of bits. Okay, so here are the parts when they've come back from the powder coaters, with just some of the areas that I wasn't too happy with. This is me now finishing off the battery box and putting that on, and I think the toolbox as well. I think that was powder coated, or it might have been painted by me, can't remember. And that's now back on the bike, and this is me fitting it. So here's the battery box all fitted in there, and then toolbox down here. Yeah, toolbox feels like I painted it. Yes, I painted the toolbox myself. The other toolbox, lots of holes underneath, need to get that welded. But there's the battery box, nicely powder coated, and it is nice, but it is quite thick, and does feel like quite a thick thing's been put on there. But I had at the same time this top engine brackets, had them powder coated, these front engine brackets had them powder coated, and the brackets that come off here to the exhaust that goes here had them powder coated as well. So I'm going to replace this bracket set of brackets, one on either side, with the two powder coated ones. And I also had one of the headlight bowls, one of these bits, powder coated as well, just to see what it was like, as it were. Chain guard done, but I've also painted one. So yeah, so that wraps it up for this video. I think, yeah, that wraps it up for this video. So yeah, again, quick update on where we are right now, as I follow and as you follow as we go through trying to get this back on the road. I'm hoping in the next few weeks that the bushes will be made and we can then look at fitting those, but in the meantime I'll keep tinkering with brackets, and once I get this bracket sorted I can then undo the front one and do the same process on the front one. I don't want the engine being reliant on these two engine bolts if I took the front one off as well. So there we are, that's all for now. So thumbs up if you like it, thumbs up if you didn't like it. Do hit the subscribe button and follow me along as we go through the build of this Honda CB200. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to be informed of new uploads. I'm also doing work on my silver working as well. That's just something that I'm expanding to start recording. Haven't recorded stuff in that before, but starting to record that, so that might interest some of you, or if you've come from that and found this, bit of crossover interest. Motorbikes and silver, who'd have thought it? Anyway, cheers, thanks for now, bye.